Once I came to this country, I met this person during maybe the second or third week of my classes. He was the teaching assistant. He had completed his master's and was working with the department of occupational therapy. Teaching assistant, very nice guy. Everybody spoke very well of him. And we started to date. He asked me out, we started to date. I got promoted 3 times in my workplace and I was offered a Ph.D. Till then, I was actually living with a friend because I wasn't sure of the Ph.D. position. Once I got a confirmation, I moved out. And as soon as I moved out, within 2 weeks, the abuse began. And I started finding something abnormal when he pushed to live with me. He wanted to live with me. And when I said no, he started getting very paranoid and he got angry, and I was abused for the first time. I was beaten. He banged me to the floor, banged me to the wall, choked me so that I wouldn't yell for help. The episodes of abuse got more violent, more dangerous, increasingly fatal with every passing day. And one day I was able to type it out in an email that I did not want to be in a relationship with him. I was willing to be in a work relationship, maintain cordial work ethics and work with him at workplace but not outside of workplace. And that triggered a very, very acute and dangerous response in him. He abused me for 3 hours of continuous beating me and slapping me, choking me, kicking me, and it just didn't stop. And at one point, maybe after about an hour, I couldn't hear his abuses anymore. So I am deaf in one ear because of that episode. And I don't know how, but I was still not able to see the extent of abuse. And in this whole situation, he was trying to blame me. He was trying to tell me that I was a woman and it was okay for me to be abused. It was okay for me to be beaten. And I had a master's by then. I was getting my Ph.D. There was no sense knocked in my head at that point that it wasn't okay. It isn't okay for a man to beat a woman. And that was the first time I met an advocate of the Women's Center. And I knew for the first time that something like the Women's Center existed. And I think that is something that sparked in my mind the association and the connection between my country and what the Women's Center is doing for people here. And I was amazed that an organization like that existed. There was an episode where he came to my apartment at 2:30 in the morning. He put me in his car and took me to his apartment where he beat me up again for 4 hours, dragged me down the stairs and threw me outside his house. The only thing that was different then was that I was a different person. I was strong, I could call 911, I could talk to the police, I could talk to my counselor. I immediately called the women's hotline. The most important thing that I learned from the Women's Center and from the hotline was that I came first. Each time I called the hotline, they told me, "Are you safe? Where are you?" The fact that I had a legal advocate with me every time I went to court was very, very assuring that I was safe even when I was in court. There was not a single day when I was by myself. There was a legal advocate on every single day with me. Abuse exists in all countries, all forms, all shapes, all classes of society. It just depends on how you deal with it. And I chose to deal with it with a lot of strength. And I think the Women's Center, everybody in the Women's Center were like angels. God sent angels to me because I don't see this journey being as easy without them.